Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to episode 7 of the weekly character tutorial series. In today's episode, we're going to cover part 3 of the female figure drawing. So, we left off last time with this, and so we had built the skeleton, which is this thing here, and now I had applied, just added some meat to the bones, and today what we're gonna do is just go ahead and color this thing, and shade everything properly, because right now it's pretty much just a silhouette. And so it's gonna be kind of similar to what I did for the head tutorial when I colored it, and so we're going to try to go, for this, we're going to go ahead and try to simplify all the shapes to something really, really simple. And then it's going to help us into understanding how the light reacts to those shapes in 3D space. So, first of all, as usual, we're going to go ahead and add our light. So I'm going to hide this because I'm not going to use that anymore. And I'm gonna pop a new layer, and then we're gonna go with our usual light setup. So top light, or it can be top, it can be whatever. Our main light source is gonna be something like this. Coming from the top, slightly on the right, we're gonna have the ambient light from the sky, which is gonna be in this direction. It's going to be coming directly from the top, and of course in this case we're going to do a bounce light bouncing off of the ground. And normally what I do for this is it's just the direction opposite to the main light source, so the light would go like this, and then bounce off and then hit this side here, so it will be something that's the opposite direction. So you can imagine if this thing here is going like this, so imagine this this arrow in 3 dimension going towards the character, then this thing here is starting from further back and then coming towards the character from the opposite angle. And that's gonna be it for the the light setup. And then I'll go ahead and shade this thing. So before I actually go in onto that particular model, I'm gonna explain what the shapes I'm thinking about when I actually apply color onto this. So a lot of people have a lot of issues when it comes to it's not really about picking the colors, it's not about any of that. It's more where to put the shadows so that it doesn't look like crap, basically. And the easiest way, these that I found, is to try to imagine everything. What am I doing with this? Try to imagine everything into a really, really simple shape. So for example, the legs are just going to be, I'll start with the torso. So the torso is going to be just this really simple bean, or like yeah, let's call that a bean. And then for the legs, it's going to be 2 cylinders. They're starting like this and like that, and they go straight down. Then you can imagine that applying color onto this, applying shading onto these shapes, suddenly it seems a lot easier than trying to go about respecting every muscle group and all that stuff. So I'm going really, really simple here, but you'll get an idea. So I'm not going to do all the body parts, but this is the kind of stuff that applies to everything. So real simple. So for the breast, just 2 balls. The legs, cylinders, same with the arms, and then another ball for the head, and a sort of bean shape for the torso. And when you have that, then just apply like some really, really simple shading to that. Okay, now that we have our simplified shapes, let's go ahead and add shading to this. So we have the main light, so we're going to use this color. Actually, let's just go black and white for now. And so, you know, you have this light coming like this and hitting this side of the cylinder first. So this part here is going to be the brightest, because if you think of it, you know, from the side, you have the light coming from the top here, and the light hits this side first. So this part will be the brightest because it gets all the direct lighting, all the photons are hitting this thing first. So in this case, it would be this side right here, since the light is coming out at a slight angle. And then just smooth that out. You can get any kind of brush you want to do that, but let's go ahead and use the soft brush. And so cylinder 1 done. Same thing with this one here. And then the brush is really easy, it's just balls. So this part here is getting hit directly. Same on this side. Same with the head. And then the bean in the back. Let's try to select only this part. I should probably have this on a different layer, but oh well. Alright. And we're going to do the same thing. So, you know, it's basically just a ball, but slightly distorted. So light is going to hit this part the most, then slightly less as you go down, because the faces won't be directly aimed at the light source. So there we go. And then same with the legs. Treat it as a really simple cylinder. And voila, all done. So this is pretty much it, you know. So if you have the legs here, you can think of it as a, you know, you look at it on this side here. Okay, maybe this goes a little bit higher to match to go meet with the bean shape. So just prolong this thing all the way up here, and you can kind of see the shape of it a little bit better, like this. And then if you want, you can also even add a little bit more shadow underneath. It's kind of dark enough, but so that you don't really need to do that. But so yeah, there we go. So, you know, we have a really simple shapes now, and you know that you can go in and do a lot more to this. So, you know, right now this arm is a lot, you know, the shape of the arm, sure, at its simplest form it's a cylinder, but then you can go in and then cut it in half here, maybe add a ball here for the joint and the elbow, and then of course you have the hands and the, you know, you can add another ball here for the shoulder, so it would be lit like this, and then it would merge with the cylinder, which is the rest of the arm, and blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. But we're gonna keep this video on the short side, so feel free to go in and add a little bit more detailed shapes in there if you want. It's all up to you. And now let's go back to our character and apply the same idea. So I'm gonna light up everything just the way that we did in on the right side here, and think of all the shapes as really simple geometric shapes. Alright, now that we have everything shaded really roughly, let's go ahead and add colors. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna go and oops. What the hell was that? Okay, let's go and hide. Get rid of this. Not needed anymore. And So we're going to do the same. So let's see, circle. So what I'm going to do for colors is, first of all, since I have a base already, I'm gonna, actually let's collapse all of that. And since I have a base here, I'm gonna select this thing and just go ahead and do color balance to give it some tint and get it closer to a skin color. You know, if I started with a line art, I would go in and add the color directly. So pick, you know, go in the color picker and pick the color I want directly. But since I have a base here, like a gray base, I can just go here and tweak the color a little bit. And of course, it's not gonna be perfect, but it'll get us somewhere close enough that we can, you know, start on and work off of. So that's good enough. Then now let's just go in and add some details. All right, now that we have everything shaded with our main light source, and when I say everything shaded, it's, you know, obviously really roughly shaded, but that's good enough for now. Now we're gonna go ahead and add our second light source, which is the top light source, top ambient coming from the sky. And like we did last time, you know, we can pop a new layer and then go really roughly on this. And this is probably not a good color. Change this a little bit. All right, then you go really roughly where, you know, the hits need to be, and for this it's a lot simpler than the other one, the other light sources, because it's, you know, coming straight from the top, so we don't have to worry about any angles or whatever. Anything that's getting hit in this direction, everything that's you know, anything that's vertical, then gets hit a little bit more. So let's go ahead and add this really roughly. Top of the hand, top of the forehead, top of the hair. Top of the breasts. And pretty much the torso as a whole. And that should be enough. So we can see, you know, it's a little bit too intense, but that's why we have this on the layer. So just drop the opacity slightly. And there you go. Okay, now that we're done with this light source, we can just collapse it and add the final one, which is going to be this one. So, you know, the reasoning behind my color choices for the light sources, I've explained this before, but I'll just say it again real quick. You know, main light source, I always consider my characters or anything I draw to be outside by default. That's going to be my default light source. Light setup, sorry. And you know, of course, if you're inside, then it's going to be much different. It's going to be much more specific. But as a, you know, general rule, I tend to have those outside. So those are going to be the three light sources that I'm going to use. And the first one is the light coming from the sun, so it's kind of yellow. The other one is the bounce light coming from the sky. This is going to be a more diffused light, you know, less intense than the sun, obviously, and it's going to be tinted a little bit blue. And then you have the bounce light coming, bouncing off the light, basically bouncing off the ground, and that's the sun's light bouncing off the ground and picking up whatever colors on the ground. So So just imagine it this way: whatever the ground color is, that's the color that's gonna bounce onto our character. So by default, it's gonna be something like this. And so this is the color that's gonna be hitting the sides here. And we can do the same as we did with the lights, with the skylight, and pop a new layer, and then go really, really roughly. And of course, when you do this, you have to follow the shapes, follow the muscles here, following the knee, the kneecap, contouring everything properly. But yeah, so everything that's closer to the ground is gonna be a little bit, it's gonna get hit by this light a little bit more than anything that's on the top here. So it's kind of the opposite of the skylight. There we go. So all my light sources are there, so I know that this works in this particular environment. So I don't have to worry about anything else but the polish at this point. So we're gonna go in and polish this thing up. So when I do that, I'm not gonna go in and color pick much. I'm gonna use all the colors that are already there. So Alt to color pick something, and then use that color in the area that I color picked. Because obviously, if I go here, color pick this color for the shadows, the shadow up here is not gonna be the same. It's not gonna match. So try to stay in the same area when you do that. And so yeah, let's fast forward this thing. Okay guys, now that we have this thing polished a little bit more, it's not perfect. I could go and spend an hour on this, but we're not gonna do that. That's good enough for the purpose of this video. And the only thing that I want to add in the end here, something that that's just personal taste, I would say, but something I like to add, and it kind of makes it pop. And it's just an outline, so it's not a, you can imagine this as maybe being if your character is wet or light coming from the back or whatever, it's not necessarily realistic, but it just makes the character pop. So that's why I do it. And it's gonna be something like this. So just you pick a color that's really, really bright, and this is probably not bright enough. So something close to white, and go and outline the shape. You can see it just makes it just adds a little bit of final touch. And when you do that, you just pick you pick a side, pick one direction, and then everything that's facing that direction is gonna get lit by this really, really strong light. So I'm not gonna have anything on this side, although I could, if I had another light source there, and sometimes I do that, but let's stick to one for today. And if it's coming from the back, then you can imagine then there would be nothing here. Not this one wouldn't get lit, because anything past like this point here is in the shadows. Anything here on this side of the line wouldn't get lit by anything, because the stuff on this side would add shadow to it. That's not the best way of describing it, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Right. And I also used this final touch to add a little bit more definition to my shapes. So you can see it's not just a straight line going all the way. Some places it's thicker, some places it's thinner. It just adds a little bit more definition to my shapes. You can keep this a little bit simpler and just, you know, have a straight line and not vary the size of it. It'll still work. Up to you. And there you go. There we have it. So this side will get it too. Alright, and you end up with something that's kind of like this. So, you know, you can just pop a background there, and then makes the outline just pop the character, you know, separated from the background a lot more, and it's a nice finished touch. And yep, that's where I'm gonna stop. This concludes part 3 of the mini tutorial, the mini series about how to draw the female figure. So to recap, you know, we started off with a silhouette based off of the skeleton that we created, and after that we just try to simplify all the shapes that all the limbs, all the parts of the body to really simple geometrical shapes, and that's going to help us to understand how the light reacts to those, because those are, you know, as simple as they get. And this is where you can go in and for maybe every joints add some details there. So add maybe 2 boxes for the knees, for each knees, spheres for the shoulders and whatnot. And that's up to you. This is where you do your homework and you figure out how things work, and that is gonna help you for sure when the time comes to shade it. But that's totally up to you. And after that, we set up our 3 light sources. So the main light, the ambient light coming from the sky, and then the bounce light coming from the ground. And after that we just apply those lights one by one, and this is what we get. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week yet, but that's for you to find out. So make sure you subscribe, and that's it, guys. I'll see you guys next week.